Hey, welcome everyone.
Welcome. We are so excited. This is going to be awesome. So, who are you?
Hey, my name is Tony, and I am with the Atlanta Black Theater Festival with my lovely wife. Tony, you can introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Tony Henson, and I'm the co founder of the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. And we are your travel guides for Ghana, part 3. Can you believe it's been 3 years? This is our third one.
Yes. Third one.
I'm
There's
so
yeah.
excited. I Can you share a little bit about how we got to where we are today? And we promise, first of all, we just want to welcome you. And we promise we won't keep you more than an hour. We're going to leave some time for Q&A. We'll be done with the presentation within an hour, and we'll leave some time for Q&A, and we'll hang out with you until all of your questions are answered. Hopefully, we'll answer most of them during the presentation. But if you could share the story of how we got to this
Sure.
place and space.
I will be real quick. Tony and I are travelers. We love to travel. And 2019 came about. In the year of return, Ghana was promoting the country, come back to Ghana, calling all the Africans in the diaspora back home. So we took a trip March slash April 2019, had a great time. Also happened to be Tony's birthday, um, fall in between the time we were over there. And we said, wow, this is outstanding. We have to come back. Tony went back in December of 2019, and I joined her because she was over there for 52 days. I joined her in January 2020. Actually, I was traveling on New Year's Eve and actually got there on New Year's Day. And um, we said to ourselves, "This we love this place. We had to go back, and we want to bring people back with us." And that's gave the birth to our first scheduled trip was December 20th, but that had to be canceled due to COVID. We had maybe 40 people signed up for that, and we had to give everybody their money back, and we rescheduled the trip for 2021. And we took a delegation of artists and artist enthusiasts, about a total of 34, 35 people. That was the first time, and then we did the trip again last year, December 2022, and took over 25 people. So here we are again. It's such a great trip, and it's you will fall in love with the motherland if you've never been there before. Uh, Tony and I had gone to South Africa. Just a quick story. Back in 2007,
7.
I believe. So Ghana and South Africa are very far apart, different experiences. We loved South Africa, but Ghana is something special. So that I will turn it over to you, Tony.
All right, so everybody, I'm seeing some comments in the chat. So I'm glad you guys are using it. Please continue to ask questions because that's where we'll field our questions from the chat. So if you've never been to Ghana or if you've never been to Africa, if this is your first time, please let us know. If you've been to Africa, but you've been to different countries or other countries, let us know. We want to know what sparked your interest to want to join this talk today and talk about going to Africa. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I've already shared my screen. I'm going to bring it up so we can.
Tony, we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry about that. Thank you. All right. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about why Ghana. Why now? Why now is a good time to go to Ghana. We're going to go over the official itinerary and we're going to talk about the accommodations and then we're going to give you some travel tips and then we'll leave time for some Q&A. So hang on. All right. And I may talk a little bit fast. If I do, again, please feel free to enter your questions into the chat area. We'll be happy to answer all of your questions and we'll hang out as long as it takes. So with a growing population of 25 million people, I can tell you that Ghana truly is the gateway to Africa. Ghana has become the tourist hub, even though we're not going for a typical tourism trip. It is, and it is someone that takes vacation, that welcomes vacationers from around the world. In 2019, like Tony talked about, they declared the year of return. And that was the time where they just the marketing department and tourism had a fabulous idea. And they said, we're going to invite the Africans from across the diaspora home. And it symbolized the return from 400 years of slavery, or 400 years since, not slavery, but also of slavery, but 400 years since our ancestors were taken from the strip from their families and villages in Ghana and West Africa and brought to the shores of the U.S. So this big declaration was made. We actually had a meeting, an audience with the Minister of Tourism and his assistant, who was a sister from New York. And we talked about, we were able to get an insider view of what they talked about. And this was in March, at the beginning of the year, what they had hoped for. They hoped that it would be about 200 to 250,000 people that will come and visit Ghana. Well, they were wrong. As it turned out, 1.8 2 million people accepted the invitation to come home to Ghana. And it was off the charts. We were there. We went back in December. Steve Harvey was there, T.I., Beyonce. That's when you heard about all the celebrities come, and they've been going ever since. So Ghana is hot, hot, a hot place to go to visit because it's trending, but it also is hot temperature wise as well. But when I tell you that the reason why it's so popular is because of the friendly people. It's the people. It really is the people at the end of the day. The food, of course, the sites, the museum, and we'll talk more about that. Why Ghana is a true West African gem. Now, Ghana is safe. That's one thing I can tell you. I was there for 52 days, most of them, a lot of them alone. And, they have your typical, what they call opportunity crimes, but they don't have where if you leave your cell phone, they love electronics. If you leave your cell phone in a restaurant, trust me, when you go back, it's not going to be there. But that's just like it is in any major city here in the U.S. Ghana is safe. I wouldn't go in a back alley or anywhere else. You use your common sense. But I felt very safe while in Ghana, and the people are very friendly. And this is me headed out for a night on the town. So another thing, the people, man, you meet your family. The way they treated me while I was there. It is the belief of West Africans that we are their long lost relatives. So they love that we're coming home. This is what they pray for. As a matter of fact, they pray every day in different key points at 6 p.m. They prayed all these years for us to come home. And they long for us to come home. Just imagine the opposite of why we want to go back. We want to go back home. We want to find out what we've been stripped of and what we've been robbed of. But they really do feel as though we're their long lost relatives. This is my auntie Sarah, and she is in the Volta region. I went there and I visited her. She's an Airbnb. It's an 8 room Airbnb, and I stayed in one of the rooms and I got very dehydrated. Drink water, drink water. And this is her fixing me a pot of fufu, which is like a soup, delicious, that you eat with oh my gosh, you eat anyway. It's just something that you absolutely have to try while you're there. And she's showing me how to cook it. So I'm telling you, when I say people invite you into their homes, it's not just it's just unbelievable. I'm more friendly than most friendly country that I've ever traveled to. And I've traveled to quite a few countries, but Ghana feels most like home. The museums are absolutely fascinating. You can celebrate our history. They have done a wonderful job of documenting not only Ghana today, but the historical journey of Ghana as as it has been impacted by colonialism, or colonization, and also explore the truth of our history. Our history has been whitewashed, and you can even see today how the denial of Black history, and during happens to be Black History Month, but the denial of our history has been for centuries. They don't want to tell the truth about what happened. And if you really want to know the truth, Ghana is a great way to go. Here's a picture of W.E.B. Du Bois, and he went there and studied in Ghana. He actually ended up being buried in Ghana. His lifelong dream was to be his final place, and it was. And there is a museum. They transformed his home into a museum, and that, of course, is a part of our tour. If you are an art lover, collector, or just one who appreciates art, absolutely breathtaking. I'm talking about visual arts, and we have become collectors. I'm so proud to say that Tony and I have some amazing pieces of artwork, sculptures, and other things that we have brought home, and just immersed ourselves in the beauty that is. And it is so affordable. One of the things that we'll talk about later is how strong the dollar is. So if you'd like to bring a part of Ghana's art home, you certainly can. Uh, and the villages, oh my gosh, they hold very sacred meaning. This is my favorite place in the whole wide world. This is a small village called Anquanda. And our first 3 days, we'll be staying about 10 minutes away from this village. And this is where I found peace and rest and healing. And I can tell you, in our first trip, one of our attendees said that she went out to the ocean and she felt as though all of her everything that she had been carrying was washed away. That's how she described it. I mean, when you hear people say they go to the motherland, it's hard to find words, and people don't often know how to put it in words. And the best way that I've learned to describe it is it's a healing. It is a shifting of a DNA, of our DNA that has been left torn off balance. So I don't know the better way to explain it, but you literally, spiritually, physically feel something shifting your spirit. And that's how she experienced it. If you like to party, I'm telling you, the nightlife rivals anything in Atlanta, LA, or New York City. And I've been to clubs in all three cities, and I tell you, you can find anything you're interested in. If it's reggae, and they do a lot of live music. It's not a whole lot of DJs, even though there are, but lots of live music. They have reggae, Afro beats, whether you're into jazz, if you're into whatever it is you want, whatever kind of music, poetry, open slams, the nightlife is absolutely captivating. And this is a picture of a nightclub that we typically like to go to as a group. And I don't know if we're going to do that this year, because I'd really rather have something with a live music vibe. This doesn't, it's a beautiful skyline, but I highly recommend you go hang out, great drinks, and great food. Now, you can literally feel the rhythms. When I talked about healing and transformation, uh, the when you experience that drum, I know it's just something about that rhythm and that beat that just penetrates your soul. And here's a picture of us when we visited one of the schools, Redeeming Prep school, and we visited it there twice, and they're doing a presentation for us. Absolutely incredible. And of course, the views are spectacular. I can tell you, this is a little eye candy for the ladies, but let me tell you something about this. We are 2 for 2. We got the first group, we had a young woman met a dashing, handsome, tall young man, and they're not so young, they're actually middle aged, and they got married last year, and we are so excited. They are living blissfully as newlyweds. And then the last trip, one of my staff members actually got engaged. So yes, the men, for the ladies who are interested, are it's raining men out there. But you know what? If you're not interested, you just want to look, you can certainly do that as well. Uh, the absolutely revival of the senses, you'll experience that. And then the food, absolutely irresistible. If you are a seafood lover, and many people are, it is so fresh, direct from the sea. I mean, fish caught fresh. As a matter of fact, we always laugh about the time that we went to a restaurant and it took them 3 hours to serve us. That's not typical, but we laughed. We were all having lobster, and we swore they went out to catch the lobster and bring it in. But I tell you, it was worth the wait. It was definitely worth the wait. We had such a good time. It was right on the beach, and we played in the sand and got in the water and everything. And so it's so fresh. A lot of it, most of the food, all of the food, as a matter of fact, is not imported. It's locally harvested, locally grown. So you're going to get that fresh food taste, bar none. And then, so I want to talk about why now. Why is it time? Why is it a good time to go to Africa? Well, I talked a little bit about it when I talked about their invitation and opening up the doors to invite us home, and that was called the Year of Return. Now Ghana is in a part a place where they now dubbed it dubbed the period now is beyond the return. And something a lot of people don't know about, but they don't make this public, is they believe that in order for Ghana to fully be what it can become, and West Africa period, is if African Americans come home and bring back their knowledge and their skills and teach the Africans and assist the Africans and invest in Africa in whatever way they can, make connections with the people. So that's when you hear about free land. Yes, it's true. When you hear about citizenship and the pathway to citizenship being expedited, yes, it is true. But it's not something they can make public because it's really, honestly, secretly not available to everyone. So I don't know how they do it. I just know I hear of people who say they follow the rules, and all of a sudden they submitted for an application for citizenship, and all of a sudden their their citizenship was approved. So who knows what's happening? I don't know, but that's what we suspect could be true. We could be wrong, but I know or they believe that we are the key to the future of Africa. So why don't we travel to Africa? And we know everybody can have their own viewpoint. If you have something you want to share, why don't people travel to Africa? I know I was recently in a meeting last week, and one of the ladies that I encountered, she said that I get your newsletter, and I'm really thinking about going on the trip. And then I asked her, she said, but I don't know. And I said, why? Why don't you know? What's the matter? She said, well, it's Africa. And I said, yes. And she said, but and she couldn't put it in words. So what I believe is we have been indoctrinated with fear. Honestly, I think that our image of Africa is that it's too far, and she did say it's so far, and that we fear our physical safety. We have been told myths that it's not developed, and there's lots of animals and jungles and safaris, and animals run wild and people run naked, and then that it's unaffordable. All of those things have been fed to us for a reason. So I don't know if you're a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a truth teller. And I can tell you that is all a lie. It is all a lie. Africa is not far. In fact, Africa is 10 short hours away from Washington, D.C., a flight, less than a 10-hour flight from Washington, D.C. or New York. And it is totally safe. It is totally developed. And it is totally affordable. And as you can see, these are my friends that came with us last time, and she wanted to go. He wanted to go to Dubai, but she said, "I am not going to Dubai until I go to Africa." And he said, I will go to Africa so we can go to Dubai. He did not want to come. He was kicking and screaming. This is my best friend of 40 something years. Her husband was kicking and screaming. She finally went. And I can tell you, by the time we got to our 5th day, he looked at me and he said, thank you. And he put his hands in the air and he said, this is paradise. So traveling to Africa, in my humblest opinion, brings you back to life. And we talk about safety, and this is something that I want to, just share really quickly. People always think that, that they're plagued with diseases and all this stuff. And just to give you an idea, Ghana had a COVID rate of 41, a death rate, COVID death rate of 41 people per million people, when the US had a COVID death rate of almost 2,500. Why is that? Because people don't know how sophisticated the medical system is. They have been dealing with pandemic or epidemic diseases for a long time. They have the protocols in place. The people are cooperative when it comes to it. There's no politics. It's all about health and safety. So they were ready when COVID hit, but that doesn't make it to the news, and that's my problem. Those things don't make it to the news. Only when it's bad news does it make it to the news about Africa. Another reason why now is because Ghana has a very the US dollar is very strong in Ghana. So if right now is 1 to 12, that means for every dollar you spend is worth 12 CDs. So how do you translate that? That translates to that lobster dinner that you saw in that other picture being about $13, 13 US dollars. So the dollar is very, very strong in Ghana. And then we also we have thought about every single avenue of how do we make this different? How do we bring a piece? How do we bring people into what we've experienced? We overcome all of those hesitations. So we've curated an experience that is safe. We have insiders, we have guides, we have people that we've known that we bring with us. It's affordable, it's unforgettable, and also exclusive. This is an exclusive trip. This is not the trip that you're going to get. We've been going there, and we've been investing, and we've been developing relationships. That we have relationships with the National Theater of Ghana. We have relationship with kings and villages, and this is a picture of some of the kings that invited us to their village, and their palace was being built nearby. So this is actually the construction site, and they invited us to come back. But I can tell you that not only did they invite us to come back, but they've invited Tony and I to a reclamation ceremony. They want to reclaim us. So we're really hoping that we can do that this year. Now, at the time, they were talking in very thick accents, and we couldn't understand what was happening. And then our driver told us, this is a very, very high honor that comes with the ability to fast track again to citizenship and the ownership of land. So we're very excited, and hopefully we can date it so that you all can join us for this amazing honor, celebration, and privilege. So day one, this is the itinerary. And again, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. If we get to them while we're here, that's fine. I want you to remember them. And then at the end, we will go through a Q&A. But day one, you arrive on Friday, or you will probably arrive on Thursday, because most of the flights leave on Wednesday. They're overnight flights, so they'll leave Wednesday night, and they'll get you in Ghana on Accra, which is the ACC, Katoma National Airport, and Kotoka National Airport, and they will you'll land on Thursday. So what we recommend is you come the day before, because we'll leave on Friday. And the reason why we do that is because for a couple of reasons. One, you get acclimated to the time change. Traveling overnight, that's not comfortable. It's like you being up all night. Most people don't sleep. But we recommend that you get a hotel that has transportation to and from the airport. So free, complimentary transportation. So when you get there, you'll go to that hotel. And there's one that I recommend that my friends went to this past year. It'll be in the travel guide. But you go and they'll pick you up from the airport. They'll bring you to the hotel. You relax, you have dinner there, then you wake up the next morning fresh. So you're going to be leaving on a Wednesday evening. You're going to arrive on Thursday. You'll make a connection with the African Royal Hotel. They'll pick you up, bring you to the hotel. You spend the night, have dinner, wake up the next morning, have breakfast, and then on Friday, the next day at 12 noon. And that's when we start our first tour. And we transport you to the Gold Coast along the beautiful Atlantic Ocean coast. And it's called the Gold Coast for a reason, but I'll tell you, I'll say that why. And we actually have a talk when we head to the central region, which is our first stop. And then we'll check into our hotels at the Lemon Beach Resort, and we'll talk more about that later, and wake up the very next day. And we'll travel to Cocoon National Park, which is a World Heritage and UNESCO Heritage Site, and you can test your wits on the canopy tour. That's the most popular event there, or you can just shop and check out some of the museums that they have. If you don't want to test your wits, or you're afraid of heights, you can certainly pass on that. And there's also an option to just chill by the pool at the resort. There's horseback riding. There's a massage that you can have in your room. You can schedule in your room. There's a fabric making workshop that you can go to. So there's lots to do. But what's included in this tour is what I'm saying now. Anything that's or alternative activities, they are nominal. They are nominal cost, but they are available to you. So the Cocoon National Park, people just absolutely love it because it is an incredible experience. It is an actual rainforest. So that is where you do get to see some very, very rare species and birds. And if you're into that, it is fascinating. And they always give a great a tour of that. So the day three, then that evening, we'll go back and we'll rest, relax at the resort, have dinner, hang out, and we'll have a bonfire that night. And then the next day, oh no, actually that evening we will have the fire show. They have a fire show, which is phenomenal after dinner. And you see music and we'll be dancing, and it's just a great time. And then the next morning we'll wake up, we'll have breakfast. Breakfast is included for throughout the entire um, throughout the entire trip. So the next day we'll wake up and then we'll go to the castle tour. We'll either go to Elmina or Cape Coast. We'll probably go to Elmina because we really do have a wonderful insider tour. A gentleman by the name of Anthony. He is one of the employees there. He does what he has dubbed and created a healing ceremony. Excuse me, sorry about that. He does a healing ceremony where it's not your typical tour. It is an insider tour. And because I can tell you it is, again, transformative. And we go through, and you hear more about what really happened during the slave trade. We've done the pay your ticket at the door tour, and we've done the healing tour. Trust and believe, you want the healing tour. Now, if you went on your own, you would do the pay at the door and pay your ticket and go with the group. And it could be people of all kinds of persuasions. But for this particular tour, it is exclusively for Africans from the diaspora, exclusively for them. So that evening, we'll rest and relax, and you will need to decompress. Trust me, because your life will not be the same. When you hear about the stories of survival and resilience, you'll run the gamut of emotions, everything from anger to hope. And so you'll need that evening to decompress. We can talk it through, but it can be very emotional. The next day, we will rise up, we'll check out, and then we'll have a Ghanaian village experience. We'll go and visit the school. We'll be able to bring school supplies. We ask that everybody bring notebooks, pens, and books particularly books by Black authors, so that they can put them in the school library. So last 2 years, people have been super generous. I expect no less from this group, and we also give a monetary donation as well. And once you visit those children, you'll have an opportunity to talk to them. They'll do a presentation. They allow us to take pictures, and just that is just really one of the most heartwarming experiences we have during the entire time. Then we will continue to head back to the capital city of Accra, and we'll check into our hotel, the Kapinski Hotel. And that next morning, we'll have breakfast. And right after breakfast, we'll do a sightseeing tour. The entire city of Accra is a fabulous tour. We'll hit all of the spots that you've heard about. Yes, we go to the W.E.B. Du Bois Museum. Yes, we go to the Coliseum. We see the Black Star. We go to the National Museum of Ghana. We go to Jamestown, and we do all of that. It is a long day, and we stop for a late lunch around 1 or 2 o'clock in the evening. I mean, in the afternoon, and that lunch is included in the tour. So that's another phenomenal day, and then the rest of the evening in the city is on your own. We encourage you to relax or explore the city. But a lot of people just kind of pooped out because that was very tiring. Went back to the hotel, relaxed, had drinks, dinner, and then called it a day. The very next day, we rose up and we took a real estate tour. Now, this real estate tour is not a pressure sales timeshare. Don't think that. Think a tour of the entire city, and how on different sites we actually go to different development sites where you can see, we'll look at some model homes just like you go to any city. When we first moved to Atlanta, we would go and we would drive around to the different homes, and we say have an open house or new development, and we would go look at the model homes. That's what this is. And we'll talk about how we are investing in how people are getting a piece of Ghana. Ghana is extremely affordable because the dollar is so strong. So you can get an apartment, a condo, a brand new condo, move-in ready for like $35,000 up to $500,000. So, but it's wonderfully affordable, and there's you may want to get a piece of a real estate to invest in because real estate appreciates. You may want to have a vacation home that you can Airbnb, or you may be looking at your next your retirement spot. It's up to you, but bring an open mind. We have a phenomenal time. At first, when we first did it, I didn't think anybody was going to go. I thought it would maybe be like half the group, but everybody, only like 2 people stayed back that day. And then this past group, everybody went. So, and it was a lot of fun. We all had a blast. That's about a 2.5 hour tour. So it's not that long, and refreshments and drinks. And then we bring you back to the hotel, and the rest of the day is on your own. Now, day 7, shopping is on your own, and we will provide you with guides. Now, one thing that I can tell you about Ghana, it is an opportunistic place. That means if they see you coming and you're an American, you have this American accent, they automatically assume that you have a lot of money. And it's just the truth. They just do. And just by the mere fact that you came over there, you were able to afford the airfare, that tells them that you have a lot of money. But the one thing that they do is they have a lot of goods. So during your time there, you can buy some fabrics, you can buy art, and we have the guide that'll be with you to help negotiate on your behalf. Now, one of the things we do, we want to pay fair price. We don't want to be ripped off. So he makes sure that we get a fair price. So your guide will be assigned to you. We have about 4 or 5 of them assigned to the group. So you'll go and you can shop at your leisure and enjoy, and be comfortable with knowing that you're not getting ripped off. You are paying a fair price. So And then after you shop till you drop, you have that evening to relax on your own, explore the city, the nightlife, and all of that. But one thing that I did forget is when we are at the Lemon Beach Resort on that Saturday, day two, we do have Alberto, or Berto, as everybody calls him. He is a tailor, he's a fashion and clothing designer, phenomenal clothing designer. He will bring fabrics to the resort and you can get fitted in your room. And lots of people bought new dresses. I bought 7 dresses last time. Wonderful, tailor made. Every time I go out in one of them, I get so many compliments because they're tailored to fit my physique. So you can do that. And then what he does is he brings them to his shop. He has a shop. He employs about 6, 7 people, and they sew our clothes and they bring them back to us in Accra by the last day. You get to try it on in your hotel room, and it's just a wonderful way to bring back a piece of Ghana's incredible fashion sense. One of the things that my husband has that gets his tailor made shirts, and they're $40 to $50, which you can't beat anywhere. Tailor made custom shirts, and you can pick the fabric. It's just a wonderful thing to bring home. And then finally, the last day is our special insider event. Now, right now, we are hoping that we can schedule the reclamation ceremony in the village in the eastern region. If not, then we are always welcome to go to the National Theater, and we have a private performance there with drumming lessons, dancing, and the naming ceremony. So we leave that open just in case, and that's the kind of like a placeholder just in case something doesn't go wrong, or something does go wrong, or we have to change the schedule, or we may receive an official invitation somewhere. That has happened as well. So these are the accommodations, and I'm going to move really quickly through this. It is a true 5-star experience. If you are familiar with the Kempinski Hotel, it is one of the top hotels in the world. They have a hotel in Accra, in the city of Accra. We will stay there the last few days, the second half of our leg of our trip. And then on the right, you'll see here, you see the Lemon Beach Resort, which is a beachfront hotel. I'm sorry, it's a beachfront resort with hotel style rooms as well as villas. Um, so they have villas by the beach or the hotel style rooms. The villas are designed, everything, the whole entire resort was designed by a Ghanaian architect. It is absolutely very true to the native style. It's beautiful resort. The food is delicious, and it's just a beautiful place to be. And you can stay in one of the rooms. The hotel style rooms have AC. The villas, some people prefer not to have AC. The villas are designed so that there's a breeze from the ocean front coming through and circulating through, and you can do that as well. You just have to let me know that you want a villa, because I have to reserve. I've already reserved the hotel rooms, but if you want to switch to the villa experience, you certainly can do that. All right, and they're round and circular. I think I have some pictures somewhere, and they look like African huts, but very modern and wonderful spaces to be. So now let's get ready to go. Required for travel with us are your travel meds. Hope COVID is required. The vaccination and the yellow fever is required. Those 2 vaccines are required in order to enter the country. They will ask for proof, and also an antimalarial. Antimalarial is not required, but very strongly recommended. The first time we went there, one of our guides got malaria. And then the second time we went there, our driver got malaria. Now, nobody from our group ever got malaria. And malaria is like the flu. So don't think that it's something we fear. But since we're not used to getting malaria, it can get us very sick and can be deadly. So you want your antimalarial. Now, you can get antimalarial drugs once you get there, or you can get them from a local pharmacy here or your doctor. You really want to go to your doctor and get it. And they're different types of drugs, antimalarial drugs. The first year I went, I was on antibiotics for another problem. So the my doctor just said that's fine, antibiotic is fine. And then the last time I went, I actually waited till I got there, went to a pharmacy, and for like $3 I got my antimalarial, and I took one every week. So, but we do strongly recommend that you get it because of the risk factor, and the mosquitoes carry it. It's transferred by or by mosquitoes. So, but mosquitoes are a problem. You need to have a problem that we have solved. So we have, if you look on the website, you'll see a travel guide, and then we have recommendations as what you can do. We have solved the mosquito problem. I think I got three, if not three, two or three minor bites, not even anything where the mosquito just landed on my arm, tried to get and did not like what they felt. So one is eucalyptus, lemon eucalyptus. Lemon eucalyptus. It is not eucalyptus, it's lemon eucalyptus, which is something totally different. And the two is peppermint. We wash in peppermint, essential oils added to your soap. And once you douse yourself in that. You start about a week before you go. Trust and believe you will be mosquito free. It is. I was there for 2 weeks last time, and again got those two or three small bites. So you do need a United States passport. The expiration date must be 6 months or more from the date of your departure. And then you need a Ghana entry tourist visa. Tony, do you want to talk about the tourist visa?
Sure. As we get closer to the date, um, we typically do a webinar on how to apply for the visa. It can be tricky. Each year it gets a lot better. So look out for that if you decide to join us on this trip sometime in, I guess, October. Um, we will have a webinar to just walk you through the steps of getting your visa. You do have to um, mail your passport to the embassy, and you will get it back and within 2 weeks. You can do an expedited and get it back between 5 and 7 days. That will cost you a little bit more, but to get your visa, the cost is $60. Well, at least it was last year. It was $60. If you want to do a multi-year, you can do a multi-year visa for $100, and that will be, they advertise on the website 2 years, but it's actually 5 years. But uh, that's what happened last year. So I'll just pause and not give any more information than that because I don't want to give the wrong information. But there is a multi-year visa available. It's either 2 years or 5 years. Um, but from year to year they change, so I'll reserve any further comment on that. But the 3 month visa is $60, and as I noted before, I'll do a webinar to walk you step by step on how to apply for the visa. And the reason why we do it, because there are a couple of ways you can do it. Um, since we've been there a couple of times, we have hosts, and that's kind of easy to help you get your visa because you have a host, someone that is welcoming you there. We have someone from the Lemon Beach that operates as a host, and the embassy is aware of Atlanta Black Theater Festival doing trips, so it's pretty easy to get the visa and get approval because we have kind of solved that issue. Now, the other way, if you do it on your own, um, you have to provide information where you're staying and things like that. And we do provide that information for you. Um, but with the information we get, it helps the process a lot easier because we have people on the ground that are sponsoring us, and that kind of expedites the issue of a lot of questions, why you're coming and things like that. Because the country really controls entry in and out of the country. They want to know how long you're staying, where you're staying, and that kind of information we're able to provide for you.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why it's good to travel with a group that knows, because Tony, I believe, is the expert on the visa application process. Go with us and do it with us so we can help you get through it, get it expedited. Again, we have a sponsor. So you don't have to worry about just putting in the name of a hotel. We have actually somebody who, Ghana is like everywhere else. It's who you know, especially when it comes to government and government entities. It's who you know. So we have a sponsor, someone who gives who vouches for us as a group. So that's why we have these webinars, again, just to help make this process as seamless as possible. And I think if you're talking about challenges, probably the most challenging part is this Ghana visa entry process. But trust and believe, we will help you walk through it. One of the first year, we didn't even know it. One of our travelers paid someone $400 to help them with the visa entry process, and we had no idea she did it. We actually found out the following year that she had paid someone. And so I was kind of frustrated because we provide that service. It is included your um, in your fee to go with us. We help you with that. So yeah, so wait for us. We recommend that you start working on it in mid-October, and then we'll schedule one of these, and you can get your laptop ready and listen in and walk. We'll go through step by step. And in about an hour and a half, yeah, it takes about an hour and a half. We'll let you know everything that you need, everything you need to upload, and we'll walk you through it step by step. Okay? So if you have questions, go ahead and continue to put them in the chat. We will circle back and get back to them. We're almost done. The travel insurance with emergency medical evacuation is required for us. And I can tell you why travel insurance is so very important. It is important, it is critical to you to travel with us with it. And the reason why is not so much as you lost suitcase or stuff like that, that's recoverable. You never know what can happen. Anything can happen when you're away. And anytime anybody travels, they need to get travel insurance with emergency medical evacuation. And that's because if anything were to happen, God forbid, if there was an accident or something, you could just stub your toe, but you don't want to recover in a foreign country. You want to recover at home where you're near your family and your friends. And for a few a couple $100, not even two, I think it's like 150, depending on what you get, anywhere from 100 to $150. Some people get the Cadillac of travel insurance, but it just depends on your comfort level and how um, your assurance of being able to be medically evacuated after out of the country. That's the key.
Yeah,
That insurance
yeah.
that includes that.
Well, explain the difference. This is not the airline travel insurance that they offer when you purchase your airline ticket.
Right.
This is not that. That is just for, you know, guarantee you can get a refund from the airline if you unable to take the trip. This travel insurance is separate and above from that. This will cover that if you have to cancel. That's part of the package that you buy. When you go on the website, and most of you traveled before, so just want to make sure you get this information, so that emergency evacuation included. Um, Most of the travel insurance companies now also offer the COVID-19 coverage as well. So if anything, happens with that, you medically evacuated. You can get home and you're not stuck in a foreign country. And what also happens is, you know, you are traveling with us, and we don't want to be in a situation where um, your medical concern, you know, hampers the trip for everyone else. We want to make sure you taken care of, and we don't have to be concerned about you over there, because we're there for 9, 10 days, and we want to make sure you're not left behind. So that's the reason
Ex-
for.
Exactly. Well done. Well said. Definitely. All right. So there is a link to a travel insurance company. It's insuremytrip.com, and they give quotes so you can compare and contrast different travel companies, different insurances. Again, you go ahead and decline that air travel or insurance that you get with your um, when you book your airline ticket, that you can get that you're double paying if you go with that. You're double paying. And like I said, anything can happen. When I was on my way back from Ghana, real quick story, I was on my way back from Ghana last year as this past trip, and they had to an emergency landing, and we ended up in the Canary Islands off the coast of Spain overnight. It was two. I was there for 2 days overnight, and my travel insurance covered clothing and meals. So you never know what's going to happen when you're traveling. And then the bus left us. They were supposed to provide transportation. I had to get a taxi. The taxi was $71 to the airport, but my travel insurance covered that. So you definitely want to make sure that you have travel insurance. The next thing is medical clearance. Go get that physical. You know, a lot of people, a lot of times, life gets busy and we neglect our physical and things go on and we don't find out that stuff is happening in our bodies until we get these, crazy symptoms. So if you go get your clearance, go to the doctor and say, I will be traveling overseas. And I just want to make sure that my blood work is fine. And that also is protection for you and protection for the group. Everybody does this, then we all know that everybody has been cleared for travel. And also, you should be physically fit. And physically fit meaning you don't have to be a muscle builder or weight trainer. All it means is you're able to lift your own luggage, your 50-pound bag of luggage, and walk at least 1 mile without assistance. So that means that you can walk. You don't need a cane to walk. That means that you can walk up and down stairs. That means that you don't have back problems that hinder your ability to be mobile, because Ghana is not an accessible country. It is not mobily accessible. You really want to, as advanced as they are, if you need a wheelchair to go through the airport, then I'm sorry, this is not the trip for you. Okay, I just want to make sure you are fully aware of that. You definitely, it is rigorous. It is very rigorous, and it is definitely for folks that and you can modify it. It's not to the point where it's going to be too much for anybody. I don't want to scare you away if you're not in top shape, but you definitely just need to start working on maybe that 1 mile walk. And that's, hey, it's a great opportunity. Just walk a mile 1, 2, 3 times a week, and you'll be ready. Do not overpack, please. 1 suitcase per person and a carry-on. That's because we travel from region to region, and we want to be able to make sure that we don't overburden. We don't have luggage handlers. We don't overburden, and we can get from place to place quickly as possible. Trust and believe, Ghana is hot. And you don't need a whole lot of clothes, light clothing. As a matter of fact, suggest, or most people suggest, that you travel with light clothing and gently used clothing that you can trade for art and jewelry and stuff like that. And I've done that. I have definitely done that. I traded some t-shirts they love, like Atlanta Black Theater Festival branded t-shirts. Like you can see my son here. This is my adopted son. He has an Atlanta Black Theater Festival t-shirt. They love sports teams. So if you have any gentle use American sports teams, American brands, Nike, whatever, You can certainly trade it for art. I traded my T-shirt for a pocketbook, really nice pocketbook, and mud cloth, and I have tons of those in the closet. So that was a great exchange for me. Africa is hot, so please keep hydrated. Planes are cold, so please just bring a shawl or jacket in the plane. Be okay with not being with tech. When we travel from region to region, Wi-Fi is readily available in the major cities, but in between in the villages, it's not really as accessible. But Wi-Fi is available at both of the hotels. Get fit, we talked about that. Budget airfare is not included in this trip. You need to budget anywhere from $1,200 to $1,400. When we first started, it was $800. As you know, everything has gone up. So airfare is running right now about $1,200 to $1,400. If it drops low below that, we certainly will send you an email alert. Fly direct nonstop from DC or New York City. United Airlines flies direct from DC. Delta flies from New York City. And the reason why we're recommending that you do that, you can probably get a cheaper fare for under $1,000, but these are less than 10-hour flights. So once you get to DC or once you get to New York, you have your suitcases in your hand, you jump on the flight, and then there's no connection. We recommend this every single year, and every single year there's someone who does not do that, and lo and behold, luggage gets lost. So we have one particular woman who did a cheaper flight or a lesser expensive flight. She saved a few $100s, but she went for 3 days with no clothes. So, and it took her 20 something hours to get there. So, it's our recommendations. Just bump it up, spend a couple, budget a couple. It's worth it. Trust and believe it's worth it. It's not worth the frustration of running back and forth to the airport and because there's nobody to call just to see if your luggage showed up. It's not worth it. Think safety first. Always be aware of your surroundings. Smile and say thank you. That's just, we as Americans have a reputation of being very arrogant, being very know-it-all, being honorary. Y'all know we are. But when we get there, I can tell you, smile goes a long way. Looking people in the eye, not shaking with your left hand because that's considered rude. That's considered the hand that you wipe yourself with after you go to the bathroom. So just little things like that. Bring your essential oils and your repellents. Take a look at that travel guide that we offer, the link on the website, and pack your patience. Ghanaians are very laid back. Think Jamaica, think the Caribbean. It is just like that. They don't rush, and they consider it rude to be rushed. So if you're there, you're at a restaurant, don't go when you're hungry. Go when you're almost hungry because you will be hangry once you get there. Make sure that you give yourself some time, relax, chill. Like I said, we waited almost 3 hours for the lobster. It was worth it. We hung out. We had a good time. We laughed, we joked, but we had a phenomenal time. That's not typical. Again, that's not typical, but it could take, Ghanaians cook to order. So they don't put stuff out, like there's no fast food. There is fast food, but they don't serve food fast. Okay. And then, you know what? Decide if you want to go with us, if you want to experience Ghana. I recommend that you do. Why? Because this is not about a tourist trip. This is really about us opening up our experiences. So, because slavery does not, we must tell our stories. One, if y'all know me, y'all know I always say that. And our story does not begin with slavery. That's another thing. People who plan on their own, you can do it. People have done it, but you do risk wasting your time, money, and you're open to exploitation like you are in any country as you get that tourist price and that typical tourist experience. Our commitment is to the arts and culture. We have curated, like I said, insider tours with trusted travel guides. Save time, you save money. It's socially responsible. That's why I believe that when ABTF comes, they roll out the red carpet for us because we have our people know how to act. We are respectful of culture. We don't try to change them. We give you as much information as you can when you get there, and experience is authentic. It is truly an insider, authentic experience. It's not them talking about you behind your back. It's those arrogant Americans. We have a team of three. It's me, my husband Antonio, Tony, and then we have a documentarian, Dennis. He's the one responsible for all the footage that you see posted on Facebook and YouTube. All right, and last but not least, these are the important dates. You want to make a deposit right now. As soon as we finish this webinar, you will receive an email thanking you and also an opportunity to hold your space. May 1st is you will receive an invoice that will be due. Half of the total amount is due. Of course, you will get the $100 credited toward the total due. And then September 1, your balance is paid in full. And I don't think I mentioned the price. Let me go back to that slide. And it is $26.50 per person, double occupancy. Again, it includes your welcome reception meal. It includes all of your breakfast, and it includes your lunch, tours, transportation, everything that I talked about, other than the optional activities, are included in this trip. So once you get that email, go ahead, or you can look at the link on the website, sign up. We are only taking 24 people. We figured out that's our sweet spot, 20 to 24 people. We've already filled up more than half those slots. So please, if you are interested, don't delay, don't wait. Again, we have a phenomenal time. Now is the time for Q&A. I just went 6 minutes over, but I do want to say that this is a mission for me. The reason why, and I can't speak for Tony, but I can speak for myself. When we first came, I came back so unapologetically Black, so unapologetically proud of who I am, my heritage, and aware. And I thought I was woke before. I am so much more woke now. And having been there 4 times, I tell you, it is my favorite place in the world. I've been to 25 countries, and Ghana is my favorite. And I feel like I'm Harriet Tubman, and I won't stop. I will continue to do this until I've brought 300 people. That's what they say Harriet Tubman brought to freedom. I want to bring 300 people, or lead 300 people to the freedom of knowing of Ghana or anywhere in the motherland. We're going to explore other countries as we move forward, but that's my goal. So it's a goal from the heart. It's legacy. You know, you start out with learning. They said the 3 phases of life is learning, leveraging, and legacy. I'm at the legacy phase of my life. So without further ado, let's answer some questions. The webinar is officially over. If you got to go, we understand, but we will be taking questions right now. We'll keep the recording going, and if you want to circle back and check us, listen to the questions later, you can certainly do that. So what kind of questions are we getting, Tone?
Well, the website, I put the website in there. It does answer a lot of the questions that are here, but we are here to answer the questions. How many days and what are the exact days for the trip?
All right, so the dates are December 1st. That's when we meet. When I talked about us meeting at the airport and we board the bus to go to the Gold Coast. So that's December the 1st. And then we come back. We leave. The last day is this. You want to get your airfare to return on December the, I don't remember. Oh my gosh, December the 9th. Is it December the
No,
9th?
11th,
December the 10th.
December 11th.
Oh, December the 1st? No. And you want to return on Saturday, December the 9th. It is December the 9th. So you leave on December. You want to be there before December the 1st, just like a cruise. And we return back on Saturday night, December the 9th. Okay. Any other questions? And all of that is on the website too. It's all on the website, the exact dates and everything.
What type of fish do they eat?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. They have cassava, They have all kinds of fish, but the Ghanaian staple is actually tilapia, and a lot of people I know don't eat tilapia. I don't eat tilapia in the United States because it's harvested from in farm. It's farmed, but actually tilapia is a native fish that comes from the Volta region in Ghana, and so um, you can pretty much know that if you're eating it, it's naturally caught from the Volta River. It's a river fish. It's not an ocean fish, but they do have ocean fish. And let me tell you, if you're a fish lover, oh my gosh.
There's another question, I mean, well, comment here, and Tony, you can kind of talk to this and how we safeguard against that. A friend of theirs were there last month, and the police/military asked them for money at different checkpoints. You could talk about that.
Oh, I love that question. That is a great question. I've had that happen, but I've never paid. You Whoa. What happens is, well, this is what I did. The first time it happened to me, I was in the back of the car. I was in the back of an Uber, and they stopped and they asked me what I was doing. And he was kind of flirting. So it wasn't like they were trying to get money. He was just asking me where I was going and could I was never asked for money. He was kind of just trying to get my phone number, to be honest. Um, and so we just laughed and laughed it off, and just kind of charmed him with a smile and went on. The next time it happened, I told them that I used to be a police officer in my former life, and I told them that I was a police officer in my former life, and he was embarrassed. So he was embarrassed, and then just kind of just brushed it off because he didn't want um, us to know. A lot of times when you have an American accent, they don't want the United States folks to think bad of them. So they were ashamed. So you're not going to be shaken down and thrown in jail like they do in the U.S. And it's and quite honestly, if you get it, if you encounter an aggressive police officer, give them 50 CDs. It's not a big deal. That's like $5. It's not a big deal. Give them 100 CDs and keep it
Yeah.
moving.
Well,
Um, that's what I would recommend.
they typically shaking down the driver
Yeah, they're shaking down
for
the driver.
not having a driver's license or having the insurance or their car
Yeah,
registered.
yeah. But
Um, so I'm not sure how your friend got involved in that because I've I was been in a car when the driver was stopped. The driver took care of the bill. I just sat in the car. So I don't know the situation that the driver asked for your friend to pay his fee. I don't know if that may have been the case or why he ended up paying, but I never had to pay when being stopped by a police officer. It was always the driver I was with. But typically, when you're traveling with us, you're very rarely in a, we provide transportation. So, but when you go out on your own, there is a risk of being stopped because they have security points at each level. And if your driver don't have their documents in order, they will be shaken down for a couple of dollars rather than taking them in to the police station. You give them some dollars and you're on your way. Um, Next question.
well, wait a minute. I want to make one more point. I used to
Oh,
be a
sure.
police officer. Trust and believe that it happens in the United States as well.
Oh, yeah.
Trust and
Yeah.
believe it is not something that, oh, I don't want to go over there because this is what they do. I don't want to frame it that way. Trust me. I was in a situation where an officer was assassinated that I worked with because he was shaking down drug dealers. So don't believe that it doesn't happen in the U.S. We all know there are dirty cops everywhere, but my experience, and I've been there 4 times, has not been bad with police. As a matter of fact, we have a picture of police. Police, they love us coming. They love us
Hmm.
coming.
Hmm. Another question here. I don't know where this is coming from, but why do older people in their 70s have so many preconceived images of Africa? That's a
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on that earlier. The kind of information we got was not accurate living here in this country, and people that's older than we are, because Tony and I are close to 60. Well, we are 60. Well, anyway, our parents didn't have the wherewithal to get additional information. If you didn't travel a lot, the information you get from TV, etc., will give you preconceived notions of Africa. But none of that is true. Africa is a developing country, so I mean, parts of it look like rural Georgia, parts of it look like metropolitan Brooklyn, New York, or somewhere like that. So that just think of it like that: rural versus urban city developing countries. Some roads are bad in some areas, but we have problems with roads as well. So just think of
Yeah,
it like
have you
that.
driven
Yeah,
in Atlanta lately?
yeah. Look
uh,
like COVID is non-existent in Africa. That is true. As Tony mentioned earlier, wasn't a lot of political back and forth with it. When COVID came, they shut the country down. They shut it down. And then when they finally reopened in 2 years, you had to take a test to get on the plane. And then once you got off the plane, you had to be tested again to get in the country. They did away with that now. This is back in 2020 when we went. I mean, 2021 when we went. Now they are with that, like all the other countries. If you're vaccinated, you're able to come in. Um,
I remember. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, no. Go ahead.
Now, I remember seeing a question where somebody said that they got the yellow fever vaccine years ago. Yeah, the yellow fever is a one and done. That's a good question.
Oh,
You
I
only
didn't
need
see
it
that
once in a
question.
lifetime. So if you got a card, a yellow card, you bring that and you present it at the airport when they ask for it. Yeah. So I think there's a question here. How soon should we reserve our flights and tickets? And I think
Well,
that's a great question.
yeah, it was a little. That's at the bottom. I went to the top. I
Oh,
asked
my
some
bad. My
questions.
bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can you bring cameras? Yes, bring your cameras. Take all the pictures you want. Ghana is hot in December. Ghana is always hot. We went March and April was hot. When December is hot, it's below the equator. It's hot. The only difference is I think they have periods of sandstorms, or I forget what it's called, the name that they call it there, was very dusty.
Hobbiton. I think it's Hobbiton.
Yeah,
Hobbiton.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's in
you get a lot of,
January.
yeah, you get a lot of dust on you. But other than that, it's hot. How much walking is involved? Is this recommended for someone with mobility issues? I think you kind of addressed that. Um, you do have to walk, not a lot of walking, but you should be able to have
Oh no, there's a
movement.
lot of walking. What are you talking about? When we go through the museums and stuff, it's a lot of walking. But you have to like walking.
Well,
If you
the reason why I framed it that way is because we had someone on a trip last year that was in their 80s. You
Yeah,
know,
but she was
they
a
were,
walker though.
yeah, she was a walker. So I mean, if you have restrictions of walking, this is probably if you immobile, this is probably not a good trip for you because you don't have those handicap accessible stuff. Elevator here to take you. It just don't have that. It's steps, and you got to be able to walk the steps and get from point A to point B. So I hope that answers the question.
There's also
Um,
the option of opting out of any activities as you want. I remember
yeah,
we
that's
had a
true.
lady the first year. She walked with a cane, and she didn't come to do all the tours. She just kind of
Right.
hung out at the hotel a lot, or just sat
Hmm.
on the bus and took the ride with us.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't think that's a trip. I don't. You can do that, but I don't think that's the. This is not the trip for you because we're such an active. It's an active, rigorous trip. I would rather you
Mm.
go on a cruise or something where they have accessibility and or somewhere where it is more accessible. I don't want to seem unkind but I want to be honest. I just want to be
Yeah, just
honest. I
being
don't want to
honest.
take your money and then you don't have a good time and you're frustrated because because of the lack of mobility accommodations. So
Hmm. Next question: do we need to take a physical? You kind of addressed that. Yeah, you want to make sure you're able to travel and have no issues, so that you don't get over there and because of the conditions are different or the food is different, and you just have some issues. So,
But I don't want people to think the food is different.
well,
Because I remember somebody saying, well, when you go over there, you got to be careful what you eat because the enzymes in the food will get you sick. I was over there 4 times. I never got sick other than
well,
dehydrated.
well,
And I,
you definitely don't want to drink the water. So,
well, I brush my teeth with
well,
the water. I
the
didn't drink the
hotel
water
water is filtered,
filtered.
yes, but when you're out in the street, bottled water is accessible everywhere.
And one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to eat. We don't eat street food. We eat in restaurants.
Yeah,
So if you eat in restaurants, if you eat in a hotel, you're fine. If you drink water, bottled water, but I brush my teeth in the sink. So if those are the things you do. I mean, just like you would it here in the US, you
yeah,
know.
that's true.
I got
That's
sick as
true.
a dog eating a hot dog off the hot dog truck in New York City.
Yeah, yeah,
So just kind of just gauge it the same way. It's not a huge difference. As a matter of fact, I lose weight when I go to Ghana because the
yeah.
food is satisfying and
Hmm.
I don't have to eat as much. So it's not
Hmm.
stripped of minerals and poured in with pesticides and chemicals. So my skin is clearer and I feel better when I come back. So,
Yeah. Yellow fever question, you kind of covered that already. Investment opportunities, yes. The investment tours we go on, they will talk about purchasing investment property. The land is a different question. Land is controlled by the tribal king, so you have to have a special relationship to get involved in the land purchase.
well,
Most of
we'll
the
talk
investment
about that.
properties, yeah, we'll talk about that on the
We'll
tour.
talk about how to
Most,
invest safely, what to look out for.
yeah, yeah. Hmm. What else? Money conversion. There's ATMs everywhere. ATMs everywhere. Money exchanges at the airport, et cetera, et cetera. They do take U.S. dollars, but I always go use the ATM when I need money because it's better for me to calculate and pay them in their money because it's quickly understood. Um, you have to think in your head or have the conversion app on your phone. A conversion app, the conversion rate changes daily, but right now it's anywhere. When we first went, it was 5 to 1. Last year, it was 12 to 13 to 1. So the dollar's getting stronger and stronger. There are some economic issues with the country, which you learn about the trip. Everything. You learn all the information about Chinese being over there, Chinese being kicked out, other countries being over there trying to take up resources. You get all that information during a trip, but the exchange rate is established by the World Bank. So right now the dollar is very strong over there. Anti-malaria, Tony covered that. Visa, the online visa application is with the DC embassy, the online one. The first year we took a group over, someone lived in New York and they had a relationship because Ghana has two embassies, one in New York and one in DC. The process of doing your visa application online is with the DC and embassy. But if you live in New York and you got a special connect, so you can do that on your own if you want to. But you will have to have your documents in order and have the sponsor information, et cetera, et cetera. But so I'm not familiar with that process, but the process that we provide in the webinar is with the DC Embassy. We wait until October. Tony, you will probably want to talk about that. Why we wait until October? You don't want to get your visa too early, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's only good for 90 days. So if you're planning to travel, that's one of the things that happened. Somebody was needed their visa for travel before the in November. So they got theirs early October, but it's only good for 90 days. So just be cautious about planning travel because you have to send your actual passport to Ghana, and it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get it back. So you don't want to get stuck planning another vacation when you need your passport between the time we apply for it, which is around mid-October, that we recommend to get it back in 2 to 3 weeks and sometime in November for December, first week in December travel. So just be aware of that. That was a situation that could have gotten sticky, but for luckily it didn't.
Pocket money, that's pretty much up to you. How much you want to bring over there. Ghana do part of the question on the visa is how much money you're going to bring. I typically put, 500 to $1,000. They want to make sure you have the funds. You're not going over there and you're getting stuck. That's part of the visa question. But for your personal reasons, they take credit cards in the hotel, etc. You want to have cash when you go shopping. That's cash only, unless you in a museum or somewhere like that where they take credit cards. But most of the street vendors, you want to have cash. And it's hard to say. I don't know your shopping habits, but I'm safe to say, $500 minimum will get you through since the dollar's so strong over there.
Yeah, that's more than enough to eat. I mean,
Hmm.
meals probably running you about $10-$20 a night, a day, maybe $25 to $30 a day per meal, like 10 to
Yeah,
15 per meal on the high side.
yeah,
And it
yeah,
just depends on your consumption. If you drink, beers are like $2,
yeah,
drinks are like $3,
yeah.
cocktails are like $3-$4. So it's very affordable. It is very affordable. The only thing
How
that is expensive are the hotels. The hotels are the most expensive because because they're five-star hotel. But everything else is very affordable.
um how
And the
soon
hotels are cool. Mhm.
How soon should you reserve your flights and get our tickets? If you're serious about going, once you make your deposit, you can start. The sooner you get your tickets, your airline tickets, the cheaper it's going to be. So if you're serious about going, you make your deposit,
Get your flight.
um, get your flight, get your travel insurance, and if something comes up and you can't go, you're covered. Please provide the website link. That is atlantabtf.org/travels with an S. So, and I put that in the chat there for you. Food is very fresh, fresh to order. Your food is cooked. The dates, check the travel guide. Don't remember because you know the travel guide has the dates. Check the travel guide, and that is on the website.
It has a
And it gives you
timeline. Yeah, what to do.
timeline,
Yeah,
everything what to do, and it gives you hotel options where you want to stay, where you can stay that first day when you get there because our trip doesn't start until Friday. You will be arriving there on Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon.
if you
Um,
fly from New York, you'll arrive in Thursday afternoon. If you fly from DC, you'll arrive Thursday morning.
okay. What will you send after the deposit is paid? I have already paid my $100 deposit. Um, okay, so your name is on the list. Do you want to send a confirmation that you received $100, Tony, or how you want to handle that?
Well, the
But
system already gives you the
okay.
Eventbrite system will give you a receipt, confirmation receipt, and
Hmm.
we're setting up a new system with a travel payment system that you'll be able to set up monthly payments or quarterly payments or whatever. But it's just taken me a little bit longer than I thought to get it up and running. The first payment, just be prepared. The first half is due May 1st. So
Hmm.
in the next, I give me a couple weeks to get that system up and running, and then you'll receive a link to get in it, but your spot is secure.
Hmm.
Very, your spot is secure. Just get ready to make your payments. No, you can. The first half is due May 1st. So thank
May
you for your
1st, yeah.
patience. I know.
Hope Williams said, great information, Tony. Tony, thank you. I am in. Okay, Damon got the information. He was in the Uber. Yeah, okay, that happens. That explains it. Um,
Yeah.
that was Atlanta has potholes everywhere. Yeah, you're right about that. I already have taken 2 COVID shots, so I need to bring my car. Yes, you need to bring proof. You need to bring proof of yellow fever and proof of your vaccination.
Yeah.
Yes. Chicken and fish was at every meal where I was in Ghana in 2017. Bottled water only, all was good. Yep, yep, yep. Very good. Thanks for that comment, Hope, because you already know. Do we pay tourist rates or local rates? Well, if you're out there on your own without one of our guides, you're gonna get the tourist rate. You know, if you're doing some shopping out there, you're definitely gonna get that. So we plan to organize travel on Friday or one of the last days in the trip where we assign a guide to you when you go shopping. But there are shopping opportunities throughout the trip. Um, all I can say is bring your negotiating skills.
And we even go over that, how to
Yeah,
negotiate.
how to
You know,
negotiate and things like that. Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
part of our tour,
the
a part of
information.
our tour talks.
Well,
Yeah.
Tony, that
So,
does it all for the questions there. I don't know if there's.
well, good. That's not too bad. 6:30. Thank you so much,
Yeah, yeah.
everybody.
All
We
right,
are
guys.
so glad you joined us. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at asktony@yahoo.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much. You are absolutely in for a life changing experience. I am so grateful and proud that we are able to do this. And we will do it as long as we are able to do this. We want people to go home to the motherland and experience it like no other. I am so grateful to Ghana opening and welcoming us and having that year of return, setting that up. And I'm grateful for you for your interest in it. Boy, the interest has been unbelievable. I'm really blown away at the number of people who are really interested in being a part of this. Again, we've already reserved half of the spots. Don't wait. This is not a create urgency moment. I just want you to know that I have no reservations whatsoever that we will fill up. We will not add any more spots. A sweet spot for us is 20 to 25. We don't do this for the profitability of it. We do it for the experience. So we're not trying to take as many people as possible. We're not driven and motivated by money at all. It's really the joy of seeing and experiencing Ghana through other people's eyes. And that to me doesn't have a price. So if you're interested in going, jump on the bandwagon and join us. We want to do it. We don't know if we're going to do this year. We're trying to go somewhere else next year. And those people who have traveled with us, the 50 some odd people that have traveled with us in the past, are just either thinking about returning this year, or they're waiting to join us in Egypt or Tanzania or somewhere else. So thank you so much. Oh, what a wonderful comments. Thank you. God bless you. I love you. And I don't love you because you're here. I love you because you're human. So
All right. That does it, everyone. Everyone have a great rest of the evening. And thank you very much for your interest and traveling to Ghana with the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. We do appreciate your time, and hopefully, you will decide to travel with us and you won't regret it. Thank you very much.
My name is Moses. I'm an Uber driver. I would like to entreat everybody and to tell everyone to come to Ghana and experience what we have. So it's fun. We are going to have fun. We are going to enjoy. Come and visit Ghana and see what we have.
Headed towards Lemon Beach Resort, as you all know, but there's a lot of things about Ghana that I want you to all learn. So we have this handsome gentleman, Anthony, and he's going to give us a talk as we go through the various towns. He's going to tell you about the culture and life in Ghana. It's excellent. Awesome. So enjoy. It is a lengthy ride. It's going to be about 3 hours.
And that is why black educators are very important.
Enjoy your meal and also feel at home.
Hello everybody, I'm Peggy Neely Harris and this is my first day here with the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, Lemon Beach Resort in Ghana. It is amazing, it is wonderful, it's beautiful. And based on the ride over here on the bus today, it was incredibly enriching, satisfying, and it filled my spirit to no end.